Alright, so that's Wild Horses. This is a tune that I'm going to take you through. I have it tabbed out. The link to the tab is below. I'm probably going to have to do this in more than one lesson because I started going through it and it's a little bit more tedious than I anticipated. But it builds on every other video lesson that I put up. Up and down strokes, emphasizing, you know, the rhythmic content and all that kind of stuff. So it's all there. Again, I print the tabs, and there's 3 sheets of tab, okay? And each page has a part, okay? So I've divided it in little sections so that if you want to just practice one section at a time, you can, all right? All right. And again, I've also included down-up arrows, which are going to be important for getting the right rhythm of the song, okay? All right. Let's go through the first line on the first page. We'll probably try to get through the first part and then we'll move on to another video. Maybe the second part if it's going well. Okay. Alright. So the first line, we're going to grab the first fret, first string, strum all the strings down, and then hammer on to the second fret, first string. Okay. Then when we're holding our second finger there, we're going to strum up, then strum down. Then we're going to take our second finger off and strum up. We're going to take our first finger off and strum down. Okay, now let me focus in on what I'm doing down here because this is where, like I said, the music is made. Okay, so first page, the first little line, okay, downstroke to a hammer on, then upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke. If you have to practice it that slow, that's great. Okay? You can just practice. In fact, I actually think this goes all the way back to Shady Grove lesson. So I'm hammering on the first, even though the Shady Grove is in different tuning. Hammering on the first fret to second fret, first string, with a downstroke, then upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke. Okay? And you may just want to practice this little line, this little phrase. Practice it every day. Just that one little part. Eventually you'll be able to go. Okay. Let's go on. Still on part 1, first page, going to the second line. Very short little line. There's just 3 little chord progressions there that we're going to work on. Okay. We're going to come down to the 3rd fret. We're going to bar all the strings on the 3rd fret. Downstroke. Then we're going to add our 4th fret with our 2nd finger. Upstroke. Then we're going to take our 2nd finger off the 4th fret and go back to just the bar and the 3 and then downstroke. Okay. Again, I'll do this even though it's pretty straightforward. It's just down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Okay. Okay, the last line is almost identical to the first, except you add one more little chordal structure at the end. Okay? Okay. Okay. I'll come back and do that again so that you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. Down, up, down, up, open. Okay, 2 downstrokes at the end, and the last little formation that you're going to be doing is the first fret, both the first and third string, and you want the second to ring open. And there's 2 downstrokes at the end for emphasis, so it's down, up, down, up, down, down. Okay? So I'm going to play through that whole thing relatively slowly. That wasn't slowly. Try it again. Okay, so that's the first part. And again, you can just practice one section at a time, you know, one line at a time in part 1, and then put it all together. Okay. Part 2 is very similar, but again, it's just how the lines end that changes it. The first 2 lines of part 2 are identical to the first 2 lines of part 1. The only thing that changes is the third line, and it's the last few chord structures there. Okay, so if you got part 1, you're halfway to getting part 2. Okay, so let's try to go through part 2. Okay, let me think through that. Alright, so yeah, the phrasing, the up picking in the last line of part 2 is what's different. Okay, so let me try to go through part 2 quickly so I can remember how to do it, and I'll break it down for you. Okay. So we'll start with since the first 2 lines in part 2 are identical, I'm just going to go over the third line in part 2. Okay. Okay. So again, we're going to hammer on, then upstroke, 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 downstroke. Okay? So it's hammer on 1 to 2, then it's upstroke, back to 1, upstroke, upstroke again, all open, upstroke, and then downstroke, all open. Okay. That's what it is. That last part where you're doing just strumming all the strings open, it's kind of quick, so it's up, down, up, down, up, down. Let me go back here. Okay, again, this is the rhythmic pattern for the very last line on the page. It's the last line of part 2. Okay. Downstroke, then all upstrokes. And that last part is just a quick up, down. Okay. And that's the kind of stuff that gives you the lilt, you know, the energy of the song. It's getting those little strumming patterns down. And so what I recommend is you take, you know, this last line of part 2 and just practice it, and you can do it. And you can do it slowly, you know, just... Okay. I know that's kind of a lot to absorb. So probably end it here, and I'll come back and do lessons on the rest of it. But I'll play through the first page. I'll try to do it slowly. All right, happy playing.